You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/The Sports Fix, Facebook.com/The Sports Fix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/The Sports Fix CLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Join The Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hi, I'm Hector Marinero. You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in, everybody. We are live on the air. A Wednesday Hump Day edition of the Sports Fix here live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. And welcome in each and every one of you guys to the Sports Fix. We'll do the official ins and outs here in a minute. But, man, I'm glad to be here, rocking and rolling, middle of the week. You know how we do it. When we say Hump Day Fix, we get you through the first half, bridge it through the middle of the week. There we go. Let's try that again. Heading straight downhill for the weekend, and it starts today right here. A lot to talk about, too. Looking ahead before we even get into anything today, looking at the slate of guests. Eddy Jansen coming back for a repeat visit from More Than a Fan, Cleveland Cavaliers writer. Looking forward to talking to him about the Cavs last night. They had another march through the preseason here. No LeBron, no Kyrie Irving, no Moondog. Somehow they overcame that to defeat the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about that. Talk about the next game here as they continue now to start to tour through the state of Ohio. Talk some Cavaliers with my man Eddy Jansen. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. He's with us every Wednesday here on the Sports Fix doing the Buckeyes preview during football season. We'll talk some Rutgers football and get you ready for the next Buckeyes game as they come back out of that bye-week slumber and get back into the thick of things. We'll talk some NCAA football, and we're going to talk some Florida State as well. As I teased it a bit yesterday. We kind of got away from it, and I said, you know what, I'm not even going to spend the last few minutes of the show here doing this. I want to be able to have some time here, and I'm looking forward to talking to Dan. He sent me that article. For those of you that didn't listen yesterday, I was mentioning that NYTimes article that Dan sent me from a few days ago. Mike McIntyre and Walt Bognick put that together. And, you know, it's not just, I mean, obviously Jameis Winston at the top of it because he's the marquee and he's had the biggest accusations against him, as we know, with sexual assault. But it's more than just that. I mean, it's a whole array of things that over the last 2.5 years appear to have been actively covered up, basically because you were a member of the football team, of the athletic program there. And we'll go through some of that, some of these details. And you know what? When you listen to some of them, because I'm reading through this, it's a very well-documented article. As I'm reading through it, a lot of them you reach that stuff where, and we have even said this, when you hear, you know, a year back when Winston got caught with the crab legs shoplifting. And, you know, of course, there's things to be said for guys that have higher aspirations as far as going on to the next level of sports. But regardless, I get it that college is where people do stupid things. Young kids, I've done it, you've done it, we've all been there and done that. So, you know, and when you read this, some of it you go, okay, well, yeah, that's stuff that you get into. There's some BB gun fights and things like that with some damage to properties. And you go, okay, you know, stuff like that comes a bit with the territory of being in that age range. But when you see all of them put together and you look at some of the in some of the little details of it and the way certain aspects weave back together with the athletic program, it really does shine not a pretty light on that. And, Dan made a good point, and we'll get into this later when he joins us the other day, that depending on how much of this stuff has teeth to it and how much it turns out this program did or did not contribute to stuff like this, I mean, yeah, it's much more salacious sounding to use the word pedophilia when you talk about something like Jerry Sandusky in Penn State, but this is a similar thing with different things, although you also have the high-profile sexual assault allegation with Winston, but you've got a lot of the same, institutional misconduct and covering things up. There has to be a point. And obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but it appears that point may have been overstepped at many points here at yet another place. I bring it up. I always, when we talk about this, I mention towns like Steubenville, some of those towns in Texas, those high school football towns where the culture creates some bad stuff. But we'll talk about all of this with Dan Wismar, and we'll preview some stuff on the field for the Buckeyes and Rutgers. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan joining us in a little bit. I know he's going to have something to say about the playoffs as well, baseball playoffs. We'll talk about that momentarily. A lot of things going on. Let's start rolling. First things first, welcome in once again to the Sports Fix. J-Rock, Jerry Myers, cracking the mic, doing the Sports Fix thing. Welcome in across the Sports Fix radio network. Perhaps you're listening to us live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio application. Maybe you're listening on Spreaker and Mixler. And if you're in the Mixler chat room, hello to you guys. Many of you listening to us right on the website, our home base, thesportsfix.net, streaming the show directly from there. Welcome in all of you as well, thousands around the world listening 24/7, literally in all different time zones across the digital delay network of iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, CarPlay, SoundCloud, all of the podcast formats, the ways that you subscribe to the show and feed it, and all the different RSS features, all the ways that you get the show. Thank you so much for doing that and being a part of us each and every weekday here. And when I say being a part of it, you know that I mean literally being a part of the show. Not only are we about to crack open the phone lines here, we'll be able to take some calls in the first part of the show and the late part of the show. We're going to have Eddy Jansen, Dan Wismar in the middle portions, but we're definitely going to open up the phone lines. 216-539-7535, the number to call. 216-539-7535. If you can't get to the phone, as always, Facebook and Twitter and email, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixcle. You can email us, thesportsfix@aol.com. Stay in touch with us. Contribute to the conversations live, real time, and so forth. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Twitter at thesportsfixcle, all one word. Email us, thesportsfix@aol.com. Before we go into anything else, let's talk a little bit about the baseball playoffs rolling on last night and Kansas City. By the time we get back here tomorrow, that thing could be wrapped up in a bow. I told you I smelled a sweep coming. I don't know that these guys are going to lose. That bullpen is doing what it does, first off. Look at them again last night. All you had to do was get them ahead. Baltimore got the lead early, and what did Kansas City do? And that's, I know Dan's going to say it again today because it's so true. It's the one stinging part that makes it a little bittersweet to root for the Royals if you're an Indians fan, is because they really are very, very, very similar to what the Indians are. That's legit. That's not a Homer side point of view. The makeup of the team, the way, the attitude, the never say die, just all of that, man. A manager that the players love to play for. The media may love to second guess this guy, and you know what? We get some of that here in Cleveland. In Cleveland with Francona, the media, you either think Terry Francona is the best or the worst. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground with most of the people there. Most people leaning towards the good side, but I think that's the case with a lot of people. Polarization is the way of sports talk radio and sports media nowadays, but you got a lot of similarities. That's a guy that those players, like I said it a couple weeks ago, when he's got guys running late, he doesn't care. He's going to play his game. He's going to let his guys go out there and do their thing. But guys, that is so much a facsimile of what we've got right here in Cleveland of this Tribe team that I could see those two teams right now flipping places and being in similar run here. You could just as easily be talking about a team like the Indians with that never say die, coming back late, winning those games, all of that. Kansas City seems to have taken that to an art form in the early part of things here, but so it's a bit bittersweet to watch that because I also caught up in it. At this point, I'm all in. Let them just go ahead and finish this thing off. Kansas City might as well make it the sweep, take it to the playoffs. And I mentioned too, they reminded me of that. I said it yesterday, that Colorado team from 2007, and you guys in the chat room are absolutely ridiculous. That Colorado team in 2007, and along those lines, I noticed a stat last night. Ned Yost is now the second manager in baseball history to run the table in his first 7 career postseason games without a loss. The other manager that did that was Clint Hurdle, 2007 with the Rockies when he had the similar run there to start things. I'm telling you, there's similarities there, but Kansas City now looking to finish that thing off here. They've got a chance to do that. Obviously, we talked about no team coming back from losing the first 2 at home. One team in the world has ever come back from falling behind 3-0, the 0-4 Red Sox. As we know, they rode that one all the way to their first World Series, but I don't think it even gets past this game right here. I could see this one just wrapping up tonight and being a clean sweep. Kansas City has got all the momentum in the world, and like I said, the chance to end this thing here. What do we got for the pitching matchups? Gonzalez and Vargas going tonight. Yeah, man, 4:07. This thing come around 7 o'clock this evening if you're listening to us live. Yeah, Bruce is right. They have not lost a playoff game since 1986. There's some history against you. Now, of course, that ignores the fact that they haven't played one, but that's a positive way to look at it, man. Haven't lost a playoff game in 30 years, and they're going to keep it rolling. They're on 10 straight now, looking to make it 11 and take it right on into the World Series. So by the time this evening's over, we could be talking about that tomorrow. And, how about on the other side? Another one of those crazy games. The second one like this here St. Louis has been involved in. But what a way for that one to end, too. And you almost hate to see games end like that. But they get that wild, crazy, anything can happen in October feel, And it does suck you back to Kenny Lofton running bases and driving Randy Johnson crazy and that whole atmosphere, because it's the same thing. Here you go, guys can't get bunts down. Remember when that happened for the Indians earlier this season? Was it Ramirez couldn't get the bunt down and then ended up winning the game with it? But last night, and then the wild throw and Choate throws it away, and the run is scored on an error. I actually saw a stat about that. It was it was actually very rare when that happens, and all the teams that have had that happen have won the World Series. Oh, yeah, here it is. 6th time in baseball history that a postseason game has ended when a player hit or reached base on an error. All the other 5 teams went on to win the World Series. So now you may have a battle of destiny meeting destiny, because we keep talking about all the reasons why the Royals may never lose another game, but San Francisco appears to have that birdie on their shoulder too. This is going to be a good one. Both of these teams, we saw it with St. Louis coming back there, and then here, and as well, hey, speaking of coming back, even though San Francisco won the game, good job by St. Louis to get back into it. Wong came through again after he homered. He hit the triple for 2 runs there. Peralta brought in a run. They brought it back, and then of course lost it there on that craziness in the 10th inning. But I expect this thing to continue to go back and forth. This is going to be a good series here. Giants get the 5th walk-off in their franchise history here. And I'll tell you, if you're looking for key swings in 1-1 series, best of 7 for baseball, 86 previous times the Game 3 winner has won the series 71% of the time. So if you're a Giants fan, that pretends well to you, as they were able to get that swing game there. But I think there's still a lot of baseball left to be played. Speaking of Colton Wong, first rookie in Cardinals postseason history to get extra base hits in 3 straight at-bats. He continues to do what he did. We saw it the other day.